Well, any musician with a name like my guests tonight has to be badass. I'm telling you. I mean, Soul Roots, come on, man. How cool is that? And you know what? This guy lives up to that name. He really does. I remember a couple of years ago, me and my Houk Robinson duo partner Jess played an opening couple sets at JV's, the great JV's in Falls Church. And who did we play in front of? Well, I found out as we were about to go on our set that it was Soul Roots. And I thought, oh man, if he gets here soon, we better not suck. But I was so honored to hand off the stage to this guy and have been such a fan and such a real admirer of his music and his range. The band Soul has and what his music kind of speaks to is a kind of a deeply rooted mix of New Orleans funk. It's got the raw blues in it. It's got some rock, some deep grooves, and it's got Southern soul. And Soul's talent stretches from fiery rock to laid back jazz to all these kind of different things that go across the music spectrum, but they really are rooted in blues, and that's what's wonderful about Soul's kind of history here. He was born in North Carolina, began his musical experiences early on with the Amazing Music Maker organization and tour and review, and we'll talk all about that. And there are some just incredible names and incredible people that have come across his life to bring him to where he is today. Later in life, obviously, Soul has performed with people the likes of Taj Mahal, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, some amazing people opening for the great B.B. King, Derek Trucks, one of my buddies who I've interviewed several times, great guy. And he's also taken in a lot of his experience and his knowledge and his acumen from a lot of these people that have crossed his paths, which is what makes him so kind of unique. I loved one thing, though, that somebody said, and if blues is blood, then soul bleeds Mississippi Delta water when cut. That is great, because the blues are part of his core, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. He's also a member of the board of directors of the Songwriter Association of Washington, and again, part of the Music Maker Relief Foundation. We'll talk all about that as well. One thing I love to hear that I also read in some research on Saul is that he is inspired to bring ancient messages to the present. And that's part of what this guy does. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, what a pleasure to introduce Mr. Saul Roots. Saul, what is up? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, glad to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I've been wanting to get you on for a long time, so I'm glad that your schedule and things have worked. I know, again, it seems like you're doing well, which is wonderful. We've had about 26, 27 musicians on during this thing. Of course, we launched it right at the beginning, so it's all had this interesting focus that one day we won't have to talk too much about. But you seem to be doing pretty well with your ability to convey music, to continue your own music on your own terms. Tell me a little bit about how you're doing, how this has affected you, and also, how you've been getting along with playing and stuff. I know you played last night at JV's and been doing some virtual stuff. How you doing?
Hanging right in there. This whole year's been absolutely crazy, for everybody. And thank you for, doing everything that you guys have been doing, really helping musicians and spotlighting them, and also just helping the local community. So y'all are doing a beautiful thing, and happy to be a part of it.
Thank you.
When everything kind of shut down, I mean, I'm a full-time musician and been a full-time musician for a long time. And just to have all the gigs evaporate in, like a week was, it's brutal for the whole music industry, But I think a lot of us musicians, we're fighters, we're scrappers, we're used to just hanging in there for dear life. And that's what all of us have been doing. And it's things like you guys and the Hamilton and Events DC. We've done some live streams, and that's been really a lifeline to keep things going.
Have you found yourself doing any new kinds of hobbies or things that you've never done before outside of music or even within music?
I've had to change my mind frame a lot about possibilities of what could happen. So I've been trying to learn about like gardening and
Right.
farming. You know what I mean? And actually was able to grow some squash and carrots and stuff like that, and my dad was like really good at that stuff. He had a awesome green thumb, and so
wow.
It's kind of like that's something that's different that I didn't anticipate really, but seems like it would be very important if everything, suddenly collapses. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You need to survive somehow. You know what I mean?
Well, I love that. You're not alone. Bill Starks, who you may know from Ruthie and the Wranglers,
Oh yeah.
and also Dave Chappell and some other of guys of your colleagues. A
Hmm.
lot of them are gardening through this thing, and they've created these massive gardens. They have to keep the deer and animals away from them. They've got such a big deal. But see, that's
Yeah.
amazing, and that's wonderful to have a little bit of a twist towards your pop. You know that he was
Yeah.
a great gardener. We talked a little bit about venues. Behind me, as people may have noticed, as we joined here, is Gypsy Sally's, one of Soul's and my favorite venues in this entire area. It went out of business earlier before the pandemic. They're going to put up, I believe, condos or buildings and some kind of buildings down by the Potomac there in Georgetown. But gosh, Saul, the venues are hurting, and I've promoted
Yeah.
NIVA since the beginning of this show. I promoted the National Independent Venues Association and hashtag Save Our Stages, and they need help. They need help, and I'm sure you're hurting too for these guys that you love playing in.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of these venues are basically like family to us, family to it's all teamwork, and everybody has to work together. Music fans, the venues, the musicians, and so it's all everybody is having to work together. That's one reason that I've really tried to work with the venues that I've been with the whole time.
Right.
When as soon as JV's opened, we were there performing.
Right.
And we're gonna perform at the Hamilton, bringing live music back on the 23rd of this month, and it'll
Right.
be it'll be the first show that they've done since March. So and there's another spot down in Roanoke, Virginia called Martin's Downtown. The
Right.
very first shows they were having, we were there. So I believe in giving back to the people that have been supporting us the whole time. So we're all in this together, and we got to work together to really keep things going.
Yeah, I love hearing that, and as we've talked about before, I love Lorraine at JV's. Is one of my favorite places on earth.
Yeah,
72 years, I think she's now celebrating after her
yeah,
dad started it many years ago, and I've been able to play again in my humble little cover band life. But to
yeah.
have bands like you come in there and people like that, it's great. As long as people are safe going into places,
Right.
that's what we're all hoping. And I know you played there last night, right?
Yeah, we played there last night, and we do have another show coming up at JV's a couple Thursdays from now as
Oh,
well.
great. Oh, great.
Yeah,
Well, we'll pump that up on the show here for sure.
cool.
Before we talk a little bit about kind of where you are now and kind of how you're doing a little bit even more musically, let's go back a little. You were born in North Carolina. How long did you live there? And was music a part of your life very early on? I believe it was.
Yeah, music was a part of my life, and my dad and my mom were both musicians, not necessarily professionally, but they loved it, and we grew up with music around the house. Um, and my father was friends with a guy named Tim Duffy, who ended up starting Music Maker.
Oh,
But my dad and Tim would do duo gigs around Winston-Salem, North Carolina, just around town. And Tim was doing some folklore and research about musicians around the area, and ended up meeting a lot of different blues and folk musicians in the area, and started a nonprofit called Music Maker
wow.
Relief Foundation.
Oh.
Uh, and I was just like a kid right then. So
Did you go to
uh,
a lot of those gigs, Saul? Were you observing this music too? Because
uh,
I'm sure you were soaking it in big time.
some of them I was like, too little to really to get involved with,
Yeah,
until I got out of later when I got older to
right.
get more involved in. Uh but I was, my dad was giving me the tapes they were recording, Guitar Gabriel, Brothers in the Kitchen. My dad was a brother in the kitchen, and Guitar Gabriel was one of the first music maker artists to really get big. My dad was on one of the first European tours that they did. It was like Tim, Guitar Gabriel, and my dad.
Wow. What
Go-
nationality were your parents, Saul?
my mom grew up in Brazil,
Wow.
so all her side, speak Portuguese. So I have, and my brother's down in Costa Rica, so I got family in Brazil and Costa Rica and scattered around the U.S.
Wow. Well,
So yeah,
that's a taste. I love that. When did you
yeah.
pick up an instrument for the first time and realize I'm not putting this thing down till I can't carry it no more?
Yeah, I think I started playing piano when I was in middle school, and then guitar in high school, and but I really gravitated more towards guitar. And then later, college, I was playing bass to, get some extra gigs and drums, learned some basics of drums. So, but you know, I guess high school time was where I really started, diving deep into the guitar, and that's been a focus for a long time.
Right, and you began to play. You played in bands there. Kind of a different kind of setting of bands and things like that. When did the next step turn you? I know that you began to be involved with, as you said a minute ago, your dad and Tim Duffy started Music Makers, which again, folks, we're going to be talking a lot about that today with Soul. It's an incredible organization, an incredible thing that basically, I love the line that they say right on the website. You can't miss it. It's to preserve the musical traditions of the South by directly supporting the musicians who
Yeah,
make it, ensuring
yeah.
their voices will not be silenced by poverty and time. I mean, it's such a great organization. Did that
Mhm.
grab you? And did you? It seems like you jumped in with them pretty early on.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Because I started going to school for recording engineering, so
Right.
that was
Where was
something
that?
that was MTSU, Middle
Okay.
Tennessee State, like close
Yep.
by Nashville.
Great.
And Tim Duffy knew that I was doing. Tim Duffy knew that I was doing recording, and he pulled me in to help him go around the South and do field recording. So,
Oh,
like, basically in college, I was traveling around, Mississippi and Tennessee and Georgia and all these places with Tim Duffy and another great blues photographer, Axel Kusner. We would go to these guys' houses, like Other Turner and a lot of people. Just
yeah.
Robert Wolfman Belfort just set up on their front porch and record them. Eugene Powell and
Oh,
then so that was some of my first taste, was just like traveling around in a van, helping set up some equipment, record these guys, hang out, listen to their stories. And um it's really deep, meaningful experiences. And later, Tim Duffy was having me duplicate a lot of his library from one
wow.
digital format to another, and I
Oh,
was listening basically to his whole catalog of everything he recorded,
oh,
and I had the idea to sample some of his stuff and make an album, mixing in a lot of these guys with blues, hip hop, and experimental type of vibe,
oh.
to try to get the messages that these guys were doing, ladies, guys and ladies,
Right.
and present it to the next generation. Try to get these messages keep them going. Carry the flame.
Oh, I
And
love
that,
that.
yeah, that
God.
one's called Volume Blue. And so,
Who are some of these earlier artists that really started influencing you, and when did you start jumping in and actually playing with them?
the early artists that I was hanging out with was like Willa Mae Buckner, the Snake Lady, and McAvon Hayes, and
The Snake Lady.
Yeah, yeah. So she slept with huge pythons in her bed, and back in the day, she traveled around the country with a huge trailer full of snakes, like showing people that, and also doing like
Oh,
a burlesque music,
ooh,
and great guitar player, great singer,
wow,
awesome performer. and
fabulous.
uh, and Guitar Gabriel and Mr. Q, the piano player. So those were
Wow.
some of the first guys. But later, after I'd been doing some recording and helping producing and engineering with Music Maker, they heard me play some instruments, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna pull you in to back up a lot of these guys."
Did you
And
expect that to happen?
I mean, I
Were
don't
you
think I
hoping it
really
would happen?
I don't think I really expected anything. It was just like a natural flow
Oh,
of being involved, and just as opportunities came up, they're like, "Hey, we need a musician. Yeah, come on with us." And
oh,
it ended up that all these music maker artists have really been my musical mentors and teachers, but also big brothers and sisters and musical aunts and uncles. So
oh, it
it's been
sounds like it.
it's been like a real personal, life. It's life changing.
It is, and it's people like talk a little bit about some of these folks like Beverly Guitar Watkins. I mean, from Atlanta, she's a legend. How did you guys end up kind of getting close and working together a little bit through Music Maker, I would gather.
Yeah, so all these music maker artists, most of these guys and ladies that I've been working with have been music maker artists. So like Beverly Guitar Watkins, Albert White, Lil Joe Burton, Robert Lee Coleman. All those were like some Georgia musicians. And say, for instance, Albert White and Beverly Guitar Watkins. Albert's uncle was Piano Red, which some of his music ended up inspiring the Beatles.
Oh,
Yeah, and so all those
not a
musicians,
surprise.
yeah. So all these musicians would back up. I don't know, James Brown and Bobby Womack and everybody.
Oh,
All these musicians were like the backup musicians for
right.
all these people. So those were my
The
teachers.
music makers, right? That's why they
Yeah,
call it that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's spectacular. I mean, I remember interviewing Buddy Guy, which was as a
Okay.
music journalist, one of my favorite experiences of my entire life. This was a number of years ago, and he told me that when he was over the first time he went over to Europe, and there you look down in front of him, and there were Clapton, Jimmy, the Stones, the Beatles, everybody watching him play, and then of course absorbing that music, but
Mm.
they didn't always get it back. They didn't always get what was coming to them. And I think that's what
Yeah,
people like Music Maker. And I know the Stones, when they did one of their first press conferences in the States, somebody was like, "Where'd you get the name Rolling Stones?" And somebody's like, and Mick is
that's
like,
what.
"What are you talking about? It's the name of a Muddy Waters song," and
Yeah,
he's just belittling the reporter. There were
yeah.
bands like Bonnie Raitt has done a lot for people. Clapton, these people appreciate, like you're doing, you
Mm.
guys appreciate where this music was made, who made it, and then, giving them something back is important.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been meaningful. And I think it's helped a lot of musicians keep on going. Like when Hurricane Katrina happens, Music Maker would help people get back on their feet, anything like house fires. So Music Maker's been really deep in that instance. It's not just recording music, it's not just putting out CDs, it's really like
Right.
paying medical bills, paying gas bills, hospital stuff, any kind of emergency. Music Maker has been there to really keep people going, like life wise, not just music wise. So
Oh.
it's very meaningful.
Oh, it is. I mean,
And
the relief is huge.
yeah, and you talking about Buddy Guy, there's a guy, Little Joe Burton, who runs with down in Atlanta, but
Right.
he was with Buddy Guy and Junior Wells for a long time,
Oh,
and BB King, all those guys. I remember we were in Australia doing some shows, and Joe was waving at Buddy Guy from the stage, and they're like, yeah, yeah. So
is Lil Joe a brass player? Is he
yeah,
trombone?
trombone,
Right.
trombone, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
just fantastic. And there's he has some family up around DC area, so when he's around town, we would get him in for some special guests, like at JV's and at JoJo's.
oh.
So he's a great guy to hang around. And just all the Music Maker guys, I love them. I
So
love them so much.
your personal evolution, gosh, what an incredible foundation and kind of family and umbrella around you. But you've gone and done your own thing through all this. How did you evolve musically, working with these folks? Obviously, also wanting to have kind of your own sound, probably bringing in other sounds that were different from necessarily blues and roots. How did your musical life evolve with all these people around you, and then as you went forward?
So yeah, I guess all those people are my roots, and I give honor to them and respect and give back to them. But I also love just like funk, and soul, and
Yeah.
reggae, hip hop, rock. I mean, I really enjoy everything, and I think because I enjoy everything, I've gotten to play with a huge variety of people, like African high life groups and gospel
Oh,
groups and hip hop bands, and
right.
just me and a DJ doing some gigs. So it's been very unusual, and and I just try to jump on whatever opportunity seems to make sense at the time,
Right.
because I just love music and I love good people, and I believe in any genre, any person of any genre that's doing something from their heart. So
Right.
that's the people that I gravitate towards.
Oh, I love that, man. Totally. You have one pretty big influence in your career, especially on guitar, and that's Cool John Ferguson.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing guy. Talk a little bit about. I know he influenced. I mean, I know Taj Mahal's a huge fan and thinks he's the bomb. Tell me about that evolution of that relationship, because I know you guys played together for a while as well.
Yeah, definitely. So it took the way that everything went. A lot of times Cool John would be the main guitar player and I would be the main bass player for Music Maker for a stretch of years. That's kind of how it went down, and I ended up learning a huge amount from Cool John Ferguson. He's been like the biggest influence on my guitar playing by far. And he plays upside down on a regular strung guitar, left-handed. So when you watch him, you have to like transpose everything upside down and backwards, kind
Is
of.
that what Jim? Isn't that what Jimmy did too?
I think
Did Jimmy
so.
play upside down or
Yeah,
something like that, or
yeah,
some
I think so.
variation of the theme?
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
not sure if I'm not sure if Jimmy restrung his guitar
Right.
the other way or not, but Cool
Somebody can
John,
weigh in on that to us here.
yeah, definitely. Uh, but yeah, and with Cool John, we did gigs all over the place. You know, I mean, and Music Maker, Australia, Canada, Caribbean, all over Europe. Um, so, and for a while, we had a, weekly thing in Durham, North Carolina, Hillsborough, North Carolina. It is a juke joint called All People's Grill. So I'll
Oh,
drive down from DC like, almost every weekend to do a stretch of gigs with him. And that was, a year or two. We were like hitting really hard.
I love
Um,
that. So you did play a number. You've definitely had your share of European and world travel with your career. What were some of the reasons for those tours again? It was with Cool John. Then what was that the main crux of your European stuff?
no, it was a huge range of all the different music maker artists,
Okay.
but a lot of times it was myself and Cool John and a drummer backing up a wide range of artists. So we had to learn a lot of different artists' repertoire and personalities and make it all flow into a cohesive show. And it was called Music Maker Review,
Right.
and it was could be a different variation each time depending on what was needed. Uh,
Oh, love that.
but but yeah, we've been some incredible places, and it's really been a blessing to hang with all those guys and see the world, really.
Any stories stand out for you on your European trip? Anything bounce right up to the front top, maybe?
Uh, One really deep place we played was Vienne, France. It was like the Vienne Jazz Festival, and so it's basically a big amphitheater that was cut out of stone from the mountain back in the Roman times. So just the history of playing there was just there's no words really. It's incredible.
Oh, wow.
So that's some things just about being in Europe is just the history, the deepness, the richness of we played some monastery in
Oh,
Italy. There was like, the monks had been making a special wine there for, what centuries or whatever,
oh
it's
God.
crazy to think about. And another thing I was thinking about is Australia. We played Australia, the Blues Fest in Byron Bay, I don't know, 2, 3 times, whatever.
Right.
And huge festival, people from all over the world. And there's a band called Yothu Yindi that takes traditional Aboriginal music and rock and mixes them together. And it was beautiful. They're like rock stars over there. And to see thousands of people vibing to the music that's carrying on tradition, but also bringing it in a new way, and all different cultures, people from all over the world vibing on the same thing. Music has that power,
Yes.
and just to bring people together. And I think a lot of people are missing that and fighting to bring it back in the safest, best way possible.
Yeah, I totally understand. People are you're seeing some of these the drive-in shows. I mean, that's
Yeah.
at least people are outside. Have you played any of those yet, or are you looking to do any of those?
We haven't done any of the drive-in things, but yeah, there's some great stuff happening, and there's a few there's a few outdoor events that we're doing in Northern Virginia that I can't promote all the way for contract reasons. But yeah,
Right.
they're outdoors, they're safe, they're for the community. So yeah, I love doing a lot of those. We are doing something for the State Theater in the Falls Church. We're doing
Great.
the last Wednesday of this month.
Oh,
We're doing
awesome.
an outdoor thing for them, and really looking forward to that. I know they've had a big variety of acts like Billy Price and
Yep. Cactus
Julianne
Lickers
McDuff.
are playing there this weekend.
Hey, all right,
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, the boys from the Cactus Lickers. But yeah, that's another way that people have adapted is, that side area out in the parking lot from the state, and people have
Yeah,
been able to go in. Well, I'm glad to know that you'll be out there, and Clarendon's can't be hurting from at least getting some people to play outside. I know Chartel and Hume and those guys been
yeah,
playing there, but Everybody's trying to do what they can do. I think it's probably time to hear some soul roots music, and that's what I'm excited about. We've got a couple of songs, at least two or three, that I want to show people that kind of encompass who you are on stage playing. The first clip, and you can kind of talk a little bit about, if you remember the clip, the Gypsy Sally's clip for "Work It For Me."
Okay.
Tell me who was playing with you that time. There's a bass player that is having a blast with you, saying, "Tell him, man. Go ahead
Yeah.
and tell him, man." I just love that, and it's Gypsy
Yeah.
Sally's. Give us a little background, and then we'll roll into that in a second.
Yeah, that bass man's Mike Pryor. I love him,
Yeah,
man. And he's gonna be with me on the show we're doing for the Hamilton coming back. So yeah,
yeah,
see, I got Mike on this clip coming up. There's Mike Pryor on bass, Darren Blessman on drums, and my buddy Mike on keyboards, from a band Covered with Jam. So
Oh, I know him well. Yeah, I love
yeah,
those guys. Yeah,
yeah,
Dan, and
e-
yeah, they're great. I've sung with them
exactly.
before. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I just saw them
yeah,
the other day at Epicure Cafe. They were doing something over there,
yeah.
man.
That's right. Yeah, Sandy
So
Redmond, I think, shot it like she
yeah,
does everything.
exactly. Yeah. What a
She's
great
amazing.
lady. What a
Yeah,
great lady.
totally. What's the song "Work It For Me"? What song is this?
Yeah. Work It For Me. It's the original blues,
Right.
inspired from, the Music Maker guys, and we try to take it and twist it in another new way. And definitely love all the Gypsy Sally's folks, and much respect for them for running such a beautiful
Yes.
venue.
Yeah, totally. It's an
Yeah.
amazing place. I love that place too. Let's take a little swath of "Work It For Me" from Soul Roots at Gypsy Sally's.
All right.
About that time I say, work it for me, baby. Work it nice and slow. Work it for me, baby. Till you ain't no more. Yeah, life's too short, y'all. Life is too short, y'all. Just enjoy yourself. You heard the man. Life's too short, y'all. He said it again. Just enjoy yourself. Did you hear, man? Girl, I need your loving. And I ain't want nothing else. I ain't trying to be your man. I ain't trying to be your man. And I care for you, baby. Just don't understand. Yeah, life's too short, y'all. Yes, it is. Just enjoy yourself. Kick back, have a good time with Gypsy Sally's, baby, on a Saturday. Yeah, life's too short, y'all. Just enjoy yourself. Girl, I need your loving. I ain't want nothing else. Sad someone else's greasy guitar, y'all. Enjoy yourself.
Oh God, I love that. And Mike on the bass is so great. You guys are just like looking at each other and bouncing around. That must have been a blast.
Oh, great times, man. Love it. Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is great. And Gypsy Sally's, man, God bless it. What a great place. I played the Velvet Lounge again on the side, and I think one night when we were playing our little duo, I think you guys might have been playing across the way there. But that is an amazing place. We're gonna graduate on to Mr. Hendrix and a very Soul Roots version of Foxy Lady. I love this. This is again, you guys. It's in another venue we've lost, and this was
Yeah.
owned by Tom, run by the group that Tom Meyer heads, who runs the Hamilton, as you know, Saul. And you guys, I've talked to numerous guests along the way here who are just heartbroken at the loss of the Soundry.
Yeah, it's really rough, and I know it's like a family of venues, with the Hamilton being one. But sorry to see the Soundry go, because I know a lot of people in Columbia, Maryland really love being there and really supporting it. So I think it's really telling everybody has to come out and support what's happening now. You know, what I mean, to really keep all these venues alive. You know.
Totally, and that gives another little plug to NIVA, National Independent Venue Association. Hashtag Save Our Stages. You go in, sign your name, put your email in, and hit submit, and it goes to a congressman. And they have millions of people across the country, as well as the biggest music stars and actresses and actors and stuff. Jerry Seinfeld did a little thing the other day in an empty comedy club in the middle of Manhattan promoting
Yeah.
NIVA. But anyway, the Soundry was a great place. This is a really fun version. Hendrix has to be part of your vernacular, as he is with everybody, especially, you know, he's got that blues feel, but also just rocks the hell out of everything. So,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Hendrix and a lot of it's been the way of Cool John Ferguson too, because he loved Hendrix, he loved Ernie Osley, and so it's like an amalgamation of Hendrix twisted through Cool John Ferguson
Oh,
and
yeah.
made it to me. You know what I mean? So some of the stuff was not directly from any artist. It's been through music maker artists that. So it's a cool little twist on it.
Well, so, you know, honestly, too, that's what I get a taste of whenever I hear you play or see you play. It's this, you're really taking an amalgam of a lot of these artists, and you know, without making it scattered and all over, you're able to kind of mold it. And I think this version of Foxy is a great testimony to that. And and also the way when he's doing the weep, you know,
Yeah.
you're doing these wonderful like twists on that. I'll stop talking. Let's listen to some Foxy Lady from Soul Roots at the Sound Ray.
Thanks, brother.
You know you want smooth and love, make it work, Foxy. You know you want groove and love, make it work, Foxy. Yeah. Wanna take you home, girl? I sure don't think it'll do you no harm. No, 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 girl. It'll be over, all right. Foxy Lady.
Oh, yeah, that is so your version of that song. It's so wild to hear people be able to kind of take a song that is pretty iconic like that and make it your own. How long ago did you start playing with Foxy Lady?
Oh, I don't know, man. You know, I mean, it probably goes back to like high school and college
Yeah,
years, but it was constant twisted around, and I love putting some heavy dose of funk in with it. You know, just
yeah.
like, you know, funk and soul. That's probably funk and soul might have influenced me even more than blues. You know, but blues is definitely like a centerpiece, but I'm heavy on the funk and soul stuff. You
What
know,
were some of your funk and soul influences in a nutshell?
I mean, you know, funkadelic for sure,
Yeah,
funkadelic Parliament stuff.
right,
But even going back to like some of their side things, like Eddie Hazel, just the guitar player. You know,
right.
he put out a couple albums, and you know, branching off into Bootsy Collins and stuff. Um, but definitely, and trying to research who was influencing those guys, like Bobby Womack and you know Curtis Mayfield. So digging back onto that side of stuff, you know, really has been a huge influence on me. And playing with guys like Little Joe and a lot of these guys, Robert Lee Coleman, he used to play with James Brown. So
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
hanging with some of the guys that were in that scene, you know, has been a huge influence.
Oh, that, and I think Robert Lee Coleman's a music maker as well and has been for a
Y-
while, right?
Yeah. Uh, and he's played with Percy Sledge and James Brown and a lot of people. And we just did the Lucerne Blues Festival
Oh,
in Switzerland like late last year,
wow.
right before everything went crazy. We went over and represented a music maker at the Lucerne Blues Festival, and that was one of the first international festivals that I'd played when I was, you know, just starting with Music Maker. So it was an interesting circle of events, you know, to come back
Yeah.
to a festival that I hadn't been to in a long time, but it was one of my first experiences. And then, you know, the beginning of the year, just have everything changed up. It's been a crazy ride, you know.
Oh, it has. That is a full circle. What a fabulous thing, and what an amazing thing the music maker thing has been for your life. It
Yeah,
just not
definitely.
only musically, but just in your heart and soul, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, that's spectacular. We're going to go to the Hamilton now. This was
Okay.
from about a year ago. Remember that, people, when life was kind of, it just seemed frigging easy and free and normal. This was from May 24th. So we talked about the Hamilton. We both love that place and the guys who run it. And the guy, it's just such a wonderful development of a place that was really pretty falling apart. When those guys walked in and they wanted to rebuild not only the hotel but
Mm,
then the club. That David and Tom and those guys did a beautiful job. I know you love the Hamilton, and it's a really
yeah,
great place to play, and that you're playing there. When is that gig coming up? It's in a
yeah,
few couple of weeks or a few weeks.
yeah. On Friday, October 23rd, we're
Okay.
gonna be the first act that's a live show back in DC since March. So we're very happy to team up with Hamilton and bring live music back to DC. They got a awesome string of events coming up. Like we're there, and then also Eric Bird and
Oh,
19th Street Band. So they got some fantastic events coming on. Everybody should support it if they can.
yeah, absolutely. And it's such a relief to see at least places kind of open the door a crack, and you got to do something somehow. This song
Yeah.
is "I Got Loaded." There seems to be a theme here, a little whiskey theme going on. Who do you
Hey
have on
now.
stage with you in this song?
Let's see. That's some of my main crew. There's Vic Chase on drums
Yeah,
and Andreas Holmstrom on bass guitar.
awesome.
And those are some of my top guys. I really rely on them. They're super talented and very thankful for them.
They are fabulous.
Yeah.
Let's take a little bit of a shot on one hand if you feel like it, and listen to a little "I Got Loaded" at the Hamilton.
All right.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Get ready for Papa Chubby? Lord have mercy. We sure enough glad to be here with y'all. I'm trying to jump into this. Last night, I got loaded on a bottle of whiskey. On a bottle of whiskey. Last night, you know I sure enough got loaded on a bottle of whiskey. On a bottle of whiskey. You know I feel alright. I feel alright. I feel alright. Yo, I feel alright.
Whoa, yeah, I could feel the whiskey churning there in that one. What a wonderful song. What a great band. Boy,
Tasty, right?
your core guys, Vic and Andreas that must be great to have guys you can rely on like that.
Yeah, I love those guys. Powerful players, and they're right there all the time,
I
man.
love that. Where did I Got Loaded came from? It was a song from past R&B or something?
Yeah, it was it's an old R&B song. Little Bob, I think Peppermint Harris was the guy
Wow.
that wrote it. But there's fantastic versions by Tab and One, Wood Brothers.
Yeah.
So we just had to throw our own little spin on it.
Yeah, you sure did. It was great. And God, is it great seeing that big backdrop again,
Oh
which you'll
yeah.
you'll be playing in front of in about two and a half weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
looking forward to that.
yeah, big time. We got one last clip, and I love this. This is the feel we're in right now. The feel we're gonna be. I can't imagine you're not gonna be doing virtual stuff in and out for a long time anyway. No matter how
Yeah.
this things start to open up. I mean, people still are hungering for music if they're home and
Hmm.
stuff like that. This was really neat. This was recorded at your buddy bandmate of this ilk, his garage in Silver Spring, but it was
Yeah.
a virtual happy hour for the Hamilton. Talk about how that came about, and then the song is Queen Bee.
Yeah, well, during this whole time, there's been a lot of people that's been helping out. Like the Hamilton's been one, so we did a virtual live stream for the Hamilton, and also Events DC. We did a live stream for them. But yeah, and since I went to school for recording, I had a bunch of recording equipment, so I just brought all of that over to our drummer's place and just set up right at his carport garage. And that's how we were able to do the live stream for the Hamilton. So, and I'm thankful for those guys. And Also DC Legendary Musicians,
Right.
Vince DC After Dark Fund,
Yeah.
Music Maker, and a lot of contribution on these live streams by music fans. That all that stuff has really helped me and my bandmates survive. So we're very
Uh,
thankful. And but this clip was just like raw, hanging out in the carport.
I loved you bringing that up. I've been pushing After Dark Fund a lot as well.
Ooh,
Mark Seagraves and
yeah,
other, that's where you get it in the PayPal tip jars, man.
yep,
Who
yeah. It
knew?
it helps out immensely. It's life saving, really. So we're thankful for everybody that's doing stuff to help out. You know, the huge range of people. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
It really is. Well, how about let's go to Silver Spring, Maryland. I used to live up in the Four Corners there, right near Blair High School. My son went to
Yeah,
Blair, so I love Silver Spring. But
I
this is
know.
a little virtual happy hour tune for the Hamilton Soul Roots and Company with Queen Bee.
Yeah, watch out. Sweeter than a honeybee, she my little queen bee. Sweeter than a honeybee, she my queen bee. Hey, she can love me to my soul, girl. You can rock me to my soul. She can love me to my soul, yeah. Straight down on my soul. Oh, oh, oh.
Oh, that is great. Silver Spring rocking with Soul Roots and Company, Queen Bee, and the
Yeah.
virtual world for the Hamilton. Man, look, I can't thank you enough for taking some time. I know again, there's a lot of people that have come on the show, and as I was written in the Zebra newspaper and online when they did an article about this show, we've really tried to help people kind of come out of this. I had a couple of musicians come on the show that were really hurting. Some who had spent tens of thousands of dollars on albums and were down in the dumps. And to be
Yeah.
able to kind of just engage with you guys. You're somebody though who has, it seems like almost even amidst the kind of the insanity in your head, you've actually thrived. You've done some really neat stuff, and it looks like you've kept busy. I'm really glad. That sounds like it's been helpful to you, man.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thankful for all the opportunities that come up. And like I say, us musicians, we're scrappers, we're fighters, we're survivors. You know what I mean? And I think I love all my musician family and people, like you, you're helping all of us keep it going as well. So thanks for all you guys are doing.
Well,
And
no problem, man. Thank you. I know Ron Holloway, I'm trying to get on the show, and I
hey,
can't get Ron on because he's going out and playing drive-in shows in theaters, and I'm like, dude, come on, I need you on here. I love Ron, and I know he's a buddy of yours. You guys have played a bunch together, haven't you?
yeah, definitely. So the whole DC music scene, I'm very thankful to have a ton of special guests like Ron Holloway and Vince Evans and Thad Wilson and Linwood Taylor and
Linwood, yeah.
Dave Chappell, all these Tom Principato, all these guys to be special guests with us is Tommy Lepson.
Oh,
I mean,
Tommy
the
plays
list
with
would go.
everybody. It's just
Yeah,
incredible. He's
yeah,
like everywhere. Yeah.
Mary Langford. So
Oh,
like all these Shirlita Settles. I don't know. I could go on forever about all the wonderful musicians in the area. And I think everybody really wants to work together and can work together to keep making something beautiful. And
totally.
definitely and Phil Wiggins, I gotta make sure to mention him. We just had a recent recording that we recorded a long time ago. Was featured in Big City Blues magazine.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
it's another version of Work It For Me, acoustic version. And so that's out on Big City Blues Magazine. And they're going to do a feature on me for this issue of Big City Blues Magazine. So I'm very thankful for the
Right.
support for those guys as well. So it's very meaningful and happy to be a part of that family as well.
Oh, I love that. And you bring up a great point. It's funny you just said a roster of people that have been on Living on Music practically with Dave and
Hey,
Tommy and
good,
we had Patty Reese,
good,
just
yeah,
Julia Kasdorf, Flo Anito, Eric Scott. It's just been
yeah,
the Sidleys. I mean, it's been an amazing thing to witness and again, I was pretty in tune with it before the pandemic, but to just witness the familial kind of nature of all you guys, and everybody's trying to keep everybody buoyed and up and playing together,
yeah.
and come on, we're all in this together and hanging in, and
Hmm.
it's great to see, and I know that you feel that's really a genuine part of why this area is an amazing music place.
Yeah, definitely. It's family. We're all in here in it together, and it's meaningful to get the support. And we want. I know. For me, like we just want to give it back to everybody. You know what I mean? I want to help support anybody I can, and the venues I can, and thankful to be for the opportunities you have up. Sharing with all the local community and worldwide. You're presenting something very beautiful and meaningful, and just happy to be a part of it today, man. Thank you so much.
My
Thank y'all.
pleasure to have you here, man. And again, you guys, there are 6 venues locally in DC that are going to open up to limited admittance, but they're going to open up. Did you hear that? Open up to music. And Soul is going to be playing the first gig at the Great Hamilton downtown on October 23rd. So if there are tickets available, obviously they're going to go real quick, hopefully for the musicians, but obviously for the limited space. So if you want to go, you better check in quick. I just want to thank you, Saul, so much, man. I've just admired your musical fortitude and style for a long time, and best of luck to you as this thing kind of continues to meander and then winds down, and then everybody can kind of get back to normal. But God bless you and keep playing music, man.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. All
All
right.
right. All right. Peace.